Shalom, I'm very happy today. I've been singing Ding Dong, the witch is dead, the wicked warlock, because of the murder of Osama bin Laden at the hand of U.S. Navy SEALs. Now, some of you out there, the lunatic left, may be saying, what right do the United States have to kill someone else, and doesn't violence beget violence? It is such nonsense. The Torah does say don't murder, but the Torah also clearly says that when people commit heinous crimes, they should be put to death. And someone comes to hit you, you kill them first. You strike them first, the Torah says clearly. Now, perhaps in the Messianic age, there won't be a need for this. The Bible predicts a time, maybe in the future, when nation will not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they know war anymore, and when everyone will sit under their own vine and fig tree and no one will make them afraid. But the only way to get from here to there is to eradicate and exterminate terrorists, like Osama bin Laden. That man has terrorized hundreds of millions of people, changed the way in which we live, instilled fear in our hearts, caused the death of many innocent people. He deserved to die. I mean, I'm thinking about this in the context of the 50th anniversary of the Eichmann Trial, which just occurred this week. The Eichmann Trial was about a man who was responsible for being the architect of the murder of over 3 million Jews at Auschwitz. He was kidnapped by the sovereign state of Israel and the sovereign government of Argentina. They went in. They surreptitiously took him. They brought him back to Israel, where he stood trial. And then they executed him, the only one they ever executed in Israeli history. But Israel has every right to do that. They committed genocide against the Jewish people. And as the United States has a right to go after Osama bin Laden. So there was no due process of law. But they had a right to kill him. And that's what happens. When you play with blood, you die by the sword. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's what happened to him. It's also interesting to talk about this in the context of the repudiation of the Goldstone Report by Richard Goldstone, who was the judge, Jewish judge from South Africa, handpicked by the anti-Zionists and anti-Semites of the world to put a rubber stamp on that ridiculous Goldstone Report, which claimed that Israel, in defending its mothers and daughters and sisters against the thousands of missiles from Hamas and the Palestinians, committed war crimes. Well, the people that actually observed it, who were not on the side of the Palestinians, who were actually unbiased, said that no nation in the history of the world fought more fairly and more ethically than Israel did. And yet Goldstone now realizes the sin he committed by lending his name to that atrocious and completely biased and sinful report, partially retracted it, but it's too late. If you don't read Commentary Magazine, you should, and the opening editorial in this month's issue talks about that and says that despite his retraction, it's quoting a verse from Proverbs, it's a name that shall rot. And so, Ding Dong, the wicked warlock is dead. Osama bin Laden has been killed by U.S. Navy forces. It's a day for celebration, and even President Obama understands that. We have to go after aggressively all of these terrorists, stamp them out, eradicate them, and try and bring about a peaceful world. And only then will nation not lift up sword against nation, and every one of us can sit under our own vine and fig tree, and no one will make us afraid.